Dear brothers and sisters, it's wonderful to have all of you here. We get questions from all over the world, and we to try to address a few of them. And what is very interesting about questions is the question of one person answers the questions of many. And it's a means by which we get to understand the spiritual path better. Our spiritual path is adhered to by people all around the globe, people of all faiths, people of all walks of life, people of all different social statuses. And so sometimes when you have a global reach, the understanding of how life should go forward, or how we can enhance our life spiritually, it gets colored by the hues of the cultures in which we live. And so when we have questions and answers, it's an opportunity to clarify our doubts, number one, to clarify how we individually can better our lives. And so, so let us address some of the questions that came this week.
Why is spirituality called a science?
You know, we live in an age where science has taken great strides. Okay? So science is telling us to believe in what it can prove. Okay? And so science puts up a hypothesis, and then it does an experiment, and then it checks the results. Now, if the results are in tune with the hypothesis, science says this hypothesis is correct. And if they're not in tune, then it says this hypothesis is wrong. Like long time ago, people used to think that the earth is flat, many hundreds of years ago. And then with time, they were able to, get on a board and go around the earth and realize it can't be flat. So science also changes as more experimentation is done, as better equipment comes out. But science is always focused on doing an experiment, getting to the results, and then confirming what it thought it should be like. And we, as human beings, have been always trying to decipher this creation that we are in. As an example, I remember when I was going to school, we were learning physics, and there was talk about what is the smallest element that is making us. Everything made out of matter. So what is the smallest element? They talked about molecules. Different molecules get together, and in organic chemistry, you heard all those ladders and all that stuff that is made. And the theory then was, science was believing that molecules are made of sub-particles, electrons, protons, and neutrons. And at that time, I believed they were all solid, because the equipment that we had in those days only could decipher till that time. So when we learned about electrons, protons, neutrons, and what their characteristics are, but they were all considered solid. About 25 years ago, as science got better instrumentation, they got all of these atom smashers, and they got more magnification to look at things, smaller things. Now they've come to a new conclusion. Now they're saying the electrons, protons, and neutrons are made of what are called quarks. And they talk about 12 quarks. Okay? The last one they could not know for a long time, so then they gave it the name God particle. Because when you don't know anything, there's God. Because if you know something, you can talk to it, you can find out. So it's very interesting, they gave it the name God particle, but then about, I think, 10 years ago, someone found what that particle is also. And they're saying that these are a great vibration that's happening. Okay? And what is very interesting is, if you look at any one of the faiths, they all talk about a vibration, whether it's called the holy word. What is the holy word? Some kind of vibration, whether it's called Shabd, is some kind of vibration. Whether it's called Kalma, is some kind of vibration. Okay? So it's very interesting that some of the words of the saints, because A faith starts after the life of a saint. And the saint has had experience of God. And so the saint then is, let's say, commissioned by God to let the people know about God. And then the followers are understanding that relationship of God and human being, and the followers are then taking the teachings. Okay? But the follower saying, this saint is mine. You can't touch it. So they put a little, that this is mine. And that's how faith starts. Because we want it to be our own, we don't want to distribute. But they grow with time, and all faiths were started because of the life of some saint at one time or another. Okay? So when we talk about spirituality, spirituality deals with the relationship of us with the Creator and the creation. Okay? Now it's not haphazard. If you look at the universe, it's very interesting. Those of you who study science, and nowadays so much knowledge is available to everyone through all the knowledge that is there, that there are so many other planets. One guy is moving like this, one guy is moving like that, some guy is moving like this, some going like that, but they don't crash. Okay? So it can't be haphazard. There's some power which is running this stuff. If it were haphazard, we would have so many accidents by now. I mean, we who are supposed to be very educated these days, we drive and we got nice cars and good systems, we got the green and the red and the orange lights to tell us what to do, and each of the big cities has at least 500-600 accidents every year. Some may be more. We think we're very smart guys, we understand a lot, we know about this, we know about that, but we have that many accidents every year in all the major cities. Okay? I know in Chicago we have 500-600, I'm sure New York has more, Brazil, maybe Sao Paulo has many more, who knows. And all the people who are driving are smart people, it's not like they don't know what they're doing. And we have rules, we say, okay, it's a red light, man, stop, oh, yellow's coming, slow down, but we still crash, right? So look at the intelligence of the Creator. And so when you start to think of it, the spirituality deals with understanding our relationship to God, and then how should we lead a life in the best possible manner when we only have this much time to live. And we could live to be 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, but we just have a limited time. Okay? So are we fulfilling the purpose for which we're living? So spirituality, which is trying to find the connection between ourselves and God, is not haphazard. And so meditation is one way of being able to understand our relationship with the Creator. Because all day long, when we are focused in the world, our attention through our senses, sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of taste, and sense of touch, is going out into the world. Okay? So when we sit in silence, we're trying to keep our attention away from the distractions of the world and connected with something higher. Okay? And that's when we experience the creative power, the divine light or the divine sound. And then there are experiences which are beyond the physical that we have, which confirm to us our connection with God. So meditation to me is like an experiment, just like you do a physics experiment or a chemistry experiment. So you have a hypothesis, you do the experiment, get the results, and you then corroborate and say whether the hypothesis is correct or not, and then you can repeat the experiment. Okay? Like when we go to science lab, any one science, a professor or teacher tells us, you take this thing and you put this in this and you get these kind of fumes. It can be repeated all the time. It will happen all the time. So spirituality or meditation is also repeatable. So when we do it in the proper manner, we find that we can repeat it and we can get into higher states of learning and getting more knowledgeable about our true connection with the Creator. And this is why spirituality is talked about science. It's not like we're sitting and we have our closed eyes and we're not doing anything. Meditation is actually actively searching for our connection with the Creator while being relaxed. It's very interesting. You have a relaxed body, but you're concentrating. So the two generally in the world don't go on hand in hand. If you're too concentrated, you can't relax. Okay. So, but in meditation, you relax, the body relaxes. But you're concentrating so that you can experience something beyond the physical and find your true connection with the Creator. And because it's repeatable, and because the hypothesis says that there is God, and hypothesis says that we as human beings are not the physical body. There's something giving us life. Because we know that when the person dies, the body doesn't shrink, or one arm is not gone here, or something else has not happened to us. We remain the same. Okay? And all of our tradition put the body back into matter. Either you cremate it or you bury it, which process put the body back into matter. So body is made of matter, but something giving it life. So you could call it the soul, you could call it the Atma, you can call it the Ruh, whatever different language have different name for it. So that power can be experienced by us. Just like with our eyes we're experiencing everything else, and we see things, we feel things of matter in the world outside. So spirituality is saying that you can experience that power which is giving you life, and that power which is giving you life is a part of the Creator. And so you can experience the Creator and find that connection. That's what spirituality is talking about. So it's scientific. And the way to find that connection is meditation. So meditation is an experiment. Whenever you sit for meditation, you're experimenting. Okay? In a lab, you're taking this thing and putting it there, this thing and putting it there. Here, you're silencing the body, you're silencing the mind, and you're trying to experience yourselves at the level of a soul or your spirit. And this is why it is scientific, because it's repeatable. You can do the tests for yourself, and the key is when you get the result. If you do experience light within, let's say, if you sit in meditation, experience the light, no one's coming with a torch and putting the light in front of you. Then you know something's there. It's not hearsay. It's not that someone told you. There's a big difference. If someone tells you, then you can believe them. But if your experience is yours, then you realize that has happened. That's a big difference. And so once we realize what the reality is, and we realize that this creative power can be experienced by us, then all life starts to be looked from a different point of view. Because right now, when we live at the outer level of our senses, then everyone looks different. Okay? Because, different languages, different cultures, different behavior, different way of talking, everything different. But once you get to that stage, then everyone looks the same. And what is very interesting is that there was the Genome Project, which was done a few years ago, which finished. We looked at the genes of many, many, many different kinds of people. And there are many researchers, some researchers are talking about that more than 99% of the genes of everyone is the same. Another group is saying that more than 99.9% of the genes of everyone was the same. But whether the difference was 0.1% or 1%, that accounts for our outer being. What does the nose look like? What do the eyes look like? How tall are we? How long are our arms and feet? It just accounts for the outer side. That on the inside, science is also proving we're all one and the same. That 99% or more of us is one and the same. But because we live at the outer level, we see people to be different, and we forget that we're all one and the same. And so meditation helps us recognize that. Okay? And so that's why spirituality is called a science.
What is meditation on the inner light and sound?
Meditation on the inner light and sound is a very simple form of meditation. It's a meditation that can be practiced by anyone. You can call it non-denominational, because it's a practice anyone can do, whether you follow one thing or not, whether your beliefs are one way or not, because it's a very simple practice. It's a practice in which we still the body and we still the mind. And when the body is still and the mind is still, then it's easy for us to connect with the creative power which is within each and every one of us, which brought all creation to being and which also is the result of us being here. And so to still the body, we want the physical senses which are taking our attention out of the body. See, our attention is the outer expression of our soul, which is giving life to the body, our powerhouse. It's taking us out into the world. Okay? We want to bring that attention within ourselves. And so we first find a quiet place to meditate. So if the place is quiet, then no sound is affecting our ears, so we would not be distracted. Okay? And second thing is, like, a number of us can sit together and meditate like we're sitting today. But we just want to make sure that no part of our body is touching the person next to us. Because if any part of our body touches someone else, if they move, then we would be distracted. So more than one person can sit together and meditate, but make sure that we're all sitting by ourselves. Okay? So this feeling of touch is withdrawn. We don't change the atmosphere. We believe like God created all creation, so every place is holy. So we can meditate in any place. There's no need to like light up incenses or make the atmosphere more quote-unquote spiritually charged by putting fragrances there or something. So that the sense of smell is withdrawn. We're definitely not going to eat as we meditate, so sense of taste is withdrawn. So as we sit down in a quiet place, we close our eyes and the sense of sight is withdrawn. So all of these five senses are very easy to withdraw. You find one quiet place, you sit down, you close your eyes very gently, just like you go to sleep, so no pressure on the eyelids or the face or anything. Now when you close your eyes, your eyeballs should be straight. See, many people know that the seat of the soul is between and behind the two eyebrows. So some people, when they meditate, they try to raise their eyeballs, thinking that if they get there quickly, they'll gain something. What we need to realize, the seat of the soul is not a physical location. Okay. So when we raise our eyeballs, what are we doing? We are putting pressure on forehead. And so that generally culminates in a headache. So we need to keep the eyeballs straight, because these eyeballs are made of flesh and blood. They only see matter made of physical elements. And what we want to experience is that of this picture. We want the input of the eyes to be out of the picture. And we close them very gently, making sure the eyeballs are straight, like in the horizontal plane, so that no stress is coming to this part of the body. Actually, this form of meditation is meditating in a very relaxed state. So all parts of the body should be totally relaxed. Now the difficulty that comes in, as soon as you'll do that, you'll be bombarded by thoughts. Thoughts about the past, thought about what you did yesterday, thoughts about what you might have to do tomorrow. Any thought that you get is going to distract you. And so the key is to get to a state of no thoughts. So the saints who've done a lot of research in that area over the years, and who came in all tradition, all walks of life, because the forms of meditation in most traditions are very, very similar. Yeah. So they through their research, they realize that the thoughts are coming from a mind which is also in the body. Yeah. So they said, let us work with the source from where the thoughts are coming. So they realize that the mind is very powerful. And so they say, we want to experience God. We want to be experiencing the Creator. And so they say, we need to still the mind. We need to use the power of the mind to take us to God, rather than put our attention in the world outside. So the techniques are similar. They say, repeat a name of God mentally. Whatever name you want to call the Creator by, you just repeat that name. Or in this day and age, you can also repeat a name that's peaceful to you, so the peace is created. Okay. You might repeat a name which is loving to you, because the way back to God is also through love. So if you repeat a name of the Creator, or a peaceful name, or a name of love, mentally, then the power of your mind goes into that repetition. It does not have the strength to send thoughts to you. And so with time and practice, you'll find that as you close your eyes and as you start repetition of this name, that your experiences of what you experience right in front of you will come out in the beginning as maybe flashes of light, maybe circles of light, maybe with time light that stabilizes. And so what actually is happening? The light of the Creator is within each and every one of you. Okay? When you concentrate, you experience the light. When you're distracted, you experience darkness. So in the beginning, as the mental repetition is getting stayed, where the thoughts are getting less and less and less, and then all of a sudden you see some light, and then you see darkness, then you experience light, then you see darkness. And so your concentration is getting better and better and better. And with time, these lights will, to you, seem like they're stabilized because your concentration now has improved. So it takes a practice. Meditation is a practice. So you have to do it repeatedly. And the more we do it, the better we get at it. And then not only do we see the light, there are many, many other vistas that we experience within. And as we experience that divine light within, there's a transformation that happens from within. So that we start to feel more love, we start to have more peace in our life, and we start to be in harmony with everyone else also. And so the meditation on the inner light and sound of God are two different practices, one to experience light, one to experience the sound. They are actually making us realize our connection with the Creator. Because the light and sound of God are talked about as the two primal manifestations of the Creator. And this is why if you go to any place of worship, you see those symbols. You might light candles in some place, you might ring a bell in some place. The symbols of light and sound are found in many, many traditions, many, many faiths of the world. And those signs are actually representing the inner lights and the inner sounds that we experience as we grow spiritually.
How can we stop comparing ourselves to others?
You know, as a person, we're always trying to look at others. And just like saying the grass is greener on the other side, we always feel that someone else is doing better than us, whether it be physically, whether it be emotionally, whether it be intellectually, or even spiritually. And this is a ploy of the mind to keep us away from focusing on what is truly going to be helpful to us. And so what we need to do is, we need to understand that what is a true purpose in life. If we understand what a purpose in life is, that a purpose in life is truly know ourselves and to know God, then everything else becomes secondary. The mind doesn't want us to understand that. So the mind tries to put into us thoughts of looking at others and seeing they're better than us in different arenas. Okay? The mind just wants to take the time that we have in the physical body and dissipate it. And so one of the ways of the mind is to put us in this down spiral, in which we are always comparing ourselves with others, in which then we try to better ourselves. And in the process of bettering ourselves, we're taking time in making developments in those arenas which are really not going to help us. I think the key is to understand what is the true purpose of life. And once we understand what the true purpose of life is, then we will be taking steps so that we realize that we're all one and the same. Okay? Once we realize we're all one and the same, then there's no question of comparison. It's because we live in a world of duality, where we feel we are we and someone else is someone else, that there's always this comparison. But once we get to a state of realizing that we're all children of God, we're all connected by the love of God, then we are not going to be thinking of any comparisons. Because then we know we're all one and the same, our goals are the same, We're all on the journey back to our true home. And then our mind is not going to get the better of us. So the key is to have that realization. And so let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeball should be straight. Focus 8 to 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who've been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. The repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power then and to experience the divine light of God within ourselves. It's my prayer to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Gopal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us soar into the regions beyond. I will be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.